Well, it gives me great pleasure to say welcome back to Woking, Matt Jarvis. Good to see you.
Good to see you, yeah, thank you very much.
I want to take you right back to your childhood to start with, because it's important, I think, to establish how much of a local boy you are. I think my first question is going to be, are you any good at table tennis? I'll bet you are.
Yeah, I'm all right. Yes, my mum and dad were both very handy at table tennis. They were both England #1, so we had a lot of time to play table tennis as a kid, but I never got pushed into it. But it give me a good half an hour practice, then I'm not too bad. Yeah.
And that's how you have ended up as a Surrey boy, isn't it? Because they were from the northeast and moved to Guildford to start a business based around table tennis.
Yeah, my dad's born and bred Middlesbrough. My mum's from Guildford, so it just so happens that I was 2 weeks old and I moved to Guildford. So yeah, Guildford is where I grew up.
And I've seen an interview, I was watching it this morning actually, in which you actually used these words, that you were annoyingly good at everything when you were sport-wise when you were a child.
Yeah, I was that annoying kid that used to be good at everything at school. Yeah, I just loved it. I loved the whole competing, the training, everything about it. People said I didn't really have so much of a childhood, like going out and socialise, but it wasn't at all. I loved it. I loved that every night of the week I was doing some sort of sport, and that was what I really enjoyed to do. So I don't feel like I've missed out on anything.
No, I'm sure you haven't. I think we'll add at this point also that you went to George Abbott School in Guildford, and you're the second player in 2 seasons to play for Woking who went to George Abbott School, which is pretty amazing, I think.
Yeah, it's a great school, and I spoke to you before. I go back and see them quite a lot. I've done lots of things for them with the shirt sponsors, and I opened the 3G pitch there as well. So it's a fantastic school, and as you said, it's nice to have a couple of players that come and play locally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. When did you realise that you were good at football? How old were you? Was it literally the moment you started playing?
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I had to work at it. I wasn't like naturally brilliant at football. It was something that I've had to work on. But I've got an older brother, so it was easier for me. I used to just play with the older kids all the time. So when I first started at Guildford City, I actually played an age above, and played there for a good year, maybe 2 seasons, before I then obviously went to my own age. So it was it's the experience and just playing with older kids. It always drives you on a little bit quicker.
And how old were you then? That your first season?
I don't know. It must have been 5, 6, 5.
So you were playing with 7, 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
So maybe you didn't realise then that you were good because they were all 2 years older than you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, that's, as I said, that's why you have when you have an older brother, then you're trying to do everything he is when he's 2.5 years older than you. So you try and you try.
Did he ever get cheesed off with you? Because you must have gone past him. Metaphorically speaking.
He's absolutely brilliant. He's been behind me my whole career, so I couldn't wish for anything better. Okay,
let's just briefly mention the other sports that you particularly stood out at, which was swimming and athletics. So what were your distances, strokes, events?
Swimming, I was Surrey champion 4 years in a row at 50-metre breaststroke. That was my event.
Get it over with quickly.
Yeah, well, as you can tell, I wasn't the tallest, so swimming was always going to come to a point where I probably wasn't going to get any further. But yeah, that was my event. I was 0.01 off a national qualifying time, so I was very close. But maybe if I was just a little bit taller, I might have got it.
And was that everything you see and read about swimming? It's all training at 5 o'clock in the morning. Is that true?
It is. I was lucky I didn't do them once, I have to say. I did all of mine in the evenings after school. I used to do it on like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Fridays, and on a weekend I had football, swimming and athletics, and same on Saturday and Sunday. So it was a busy weekend.
And athletics, people might be surprised to learn you weren't a sprinter.
I wish I did it now. Yeah, I used to do all the long distance ones. I loved it. As I said, I think it was the competing, the training. I used to love it. So I used to do on the track. I used to do the 8 and the 15, and then I used to do cross country. And yeah, I really enjoyed you know, the set off on the run, and then you used to just get into your stride, and then luckily for me, I was able to, at the last sort of 100 metres, have a sprint finish, so that used to help me quite a lot in the end.
So as your football career developed, no doubt pre-season training, you thrashed everyone out of sight on the long runs.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's so many players that are naturally gifted at running. Again, it was something I had to work at. So pre-season was always one of them that as you got older, you realised that you didn't have to win everything. You had to just sort of get yourself steady, Eddie. And you let the young ones then try and kick off, and then you see them all coming back a little bit later. So it was something you have to keep in your mind and work at.
Sure. And finally, on school days, you proved comprehensively that you didn't spend all your time kicking a ball and running by getting 10 GCSEs.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, schoolwork was very important. It was. Some people say I didn't enjoy. I loved school. I loved it. Obviously, the socialising was a main part in the sport, but I enjoyed doing all of most of the different subjects, and I had to work it. I had a few extra lessons towards the end to make sure I got the grade. So it was a very good, enjoyable experience for me.
And something you're proud of, I'm sure.
Yeah, I got 1 A, 4 Bs, 5 Cs, so I'll
Excellent.
take that.
Yeah, very good. I've got 10 O levels as well, but probably not as good grades as those. Anyway, any thoughts about possibly doing A levels just for yourself in the future?
I did do a couple of when I was a scholar, I did a couple of the what were they called back then? I can't even remember what they were called now, but sort of type A level type things. So like I did sports fitness, so I'm a fully qualified gym instructor and things like that. But at the moment, I hadn't really thought about doing anything else. But there's always an opportunity to do it. I'm doing my football badges, and I'm enjoying doing the media part as well. So there's always time for learning.
Sure. Your football career is fairly well documented, so I'm sort of focusing a bit on other stuff to an extent, but we can't ignore it, obviously. You started off after playing for Guildford City, then Meadow Sports, who we are very friendly with here, and Epsom Eagles. You then went to Millwall.
Yep.
And you were there for quite a while, but in the end it didn't work out.
No, I was there for about 6 years, 7 years. As I said, my older brother, he was at Millwall as well, so it was great. We used to, after school, we used to have to travel away over to Sheen to train, and I was there. It was great at that age to be at a club, an academy club, and it was just a real nice experience. You as a kid being involved in something like that was really great. But then coming to trying to get a youth team contract at like 15, you could see at the time it wasn't particularly going the right direction. I don't think at Millwall it was a bit of I don't know what the words are to use for the club. It was going through a bit of a transition, I suppose.
Who was the manager then?
At the time, I can't even remember what the main manager was. It might have been Mark McGee.
Right.
I can't remember, but I was obviously in the youth team, but I'd played in the under 17s and under 19s at the time as well. And it just, unfortunately for me, I got told that I wasn't good enough, and that they'd signed a couple of players that were in the year above me that are in my position, and I wasn't going to be offered a contract. And
so I'm not necessarily asking you to name them, but do you remember who they were?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah,
and
I mean, they've still played, and it's not anything to do with them. So
no. But I'm just coming at it from the point of view: did Millwall make a big mistake by taking them rather than you? Or did they get good service out of them?
Mixture.
Okay. I'd say I'm not asking for names. So.
No, but obviously for me, I was gutted as a kid. Getting told you're not good enough, and it was horrible. But luckily for me at the time, Gillingham, a guy called Bernie Dillon, called me straight away after he found out I was released. It was even the same day. They said come down to Gillingham, and at the time I was like, no, I don't want to. I wasn't ready for it. But after about a week, he kept on calling me, and then I went down to train, and and I was useless, to be honest. But luckily, at the end, after I played quite a few games, and then luckily I got offered a youth team contract, and then for me everything just changed. Confidence-wise, I was just a completely different person. And then from day one in pre-season in the youth team, I just didn't look back. And my second year as pre-season as a YTS, I was with the first team, and then stayed with the first team. It was just an amazing start to my football career, and then obviously Gillingham was an amazing club for me.
And you made your debut at 17?
Yeah,
That's
it was
quite an achievement.
It was
that in
amazing.
League One?
It was Championship. No, it's Championship
right.
Against Sunderland as well, which
Yes.
they were sort of the best team in the league at the time. And funny enough, years later, I found out when I made my debut, and Stuart Downing made his debut for Sunderland that day as well,
Right.
and we were teammates later on. And it was Julio Arca and Stuart Downing on the same side, and they were some combination. And I remember coming on. I think I played about 35 minutes, and it was an evening kick-off, and it was some experience to come onto a game like that with the calibre of players that Sunderland had, and the sharpness and the quickness of the pace. You're like, wow, right, I need to step up again. It's a completely different thing to a reserve team or a youth team game.
And I believe you made over 100 appearances for the Gills in the end.
Yeah.
And got in the League One Team of the Year.
Yeah, as I said, it was an amazing club. It still is an amazing club. I got brilliant memories. The fans were incredible to me, and yeah, I did really well. That's how I sort of made my name, I suppose.
Well, you certainly made your name in the West Midlands, because you then moved to Wolves, who decided to invest in your services.
Yeah.
How did you enjoy your time at Wolves?
Incredible.
Because you got promotion to the Premier League, didn't you?
Yeah, I think everyone sort of says, well, it's your most enjoyable sort of club or time you've been in. I think everyone would say, when you have success, it's enjoyable. So
yes.
At Wolves, we were successful. The first year I was there, we missed out on the playoffs by 1 goal in goal difference, which was devastating. But then the following year, we were promoted as champions and blew the league apart. It was just, that team was so together, and Mick McCarthy made such a difference to every single player. Him and his staff, they were just incredible. Like, he had Terry Connor, who was his assistant, was just so good at taking people out and working on you individually. And for me, he worked with me every single day, and I was fortunate enough that I also had probably one of the best, for me personally, fitness coaches that was there. I had Tony Daly, who was
right.
a
Tony
winger.
Daly played in this league.
Yeah, he was obviously England international.
Yeah.
He was a wide player, left wing, with right-footed, real good pace. It was just exactly what, so he helped me enormously as well. So that was where I sort of had to step up even more, and I really improved as a player and had a lot more strings to my bow. And Mick McCarthy was an absolutely fantastic manager, and again the fans were brilliant, and I still go back and see them. I have a great relationship with them, and obviously the club now is absolutely flying.
Yes. I think I'm right in saying Tony Daly played for Forest Green Rovers in this league, and has played here, and we've played against them up there a few times actually. Yeah, back in the day, as they say. So from Wolves to West Ham, big money move.
Yeah. It was. It's a huge club. I don't think people realise how big a club it is. I think when I signed there, as you say, club record signing, it was a bit of a. I was just delighted to move there, be back in the Premier League, and then you have a feel for how big the club is. You're in London, which is huge. I think there's so many people just come out and go, oh, I'm a massive West Ham fan. It was just, all the media surrounding it, all of the interviews, everything that you had to do as part and parcel as the football club. It was just, it was a huge club, and I loved my time there.
Well, they loved you because you got Supporters Player of the Year and the Players Player of the Year in 2011.
That was at Wolves.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm trying to cram too many words in small space. All right. Well, going back to Wolves, the supporters and the players all loved you.
That was the season that last season I was there. When Mick McCarthy got the sack with I think 13 games to go, which was not all the players were behind him. It was disappointing that you could see why he got the sack, but everyone was behind him. But with 13 games to go, I think I scored 7 goals in 13 or 12 games. So I was doing really well personally, and that's obviously the majority why I probably got players player, managers player, and fans player, and then obviously was able to get myself back in the Premier League.
They're probably the best 2 awards to win, aren't they? Well, you got the respect of your teammates and the fans.
Yeah, definitely best awards to win. You know, as you said, your peers to nominate you to being the best player is really nice, and obviously you always want to have a good relationship with the fans, so that's a special one.
And you didn't cross with Robert Greene at West Ham at all, did you?
I didn't, but I did at England. Yeah.
Oh right. So,
yeah.
Did he ever talk to you about Woking?
Yeah. Not really, but obviously I spoke to him since.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we you know, he grew up around here as well, so
yes, he did.
Yeah, I've seen him a few times since. So.
But you missed him at Halifax, of course.
Yeah. Well, he obviously he was at Chelsea, so I saw him briefly after that as well. So. Right. He's what a good guy he is.
Sorry, when I say you missed him at Halifax, I mean the away game last season.
Oh yeah,
because
sorry.
Your baby was being born.
Yeah, I know.
And he came to the match and his son was the mascot.
Yeah, I did know that, but yeah, unfortunately, my I don't think my wife would have been too pleased. No. So no, it's unfortunately I missed him. Yeah.
Sure. So from West Ham on loan to Norwich in 2015, and that was made permanent in January 16.
Yeah.
And but then eventually he got injured, and things have been a bit different since. What exactly was the nature of your injury? Plural injuries.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I went into a silly tackle with Yaya Toure, and he's a lot bigger than me.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm not really known for my tackling, so I don't know why I decided to do that. But no, unfortunately, I did my deep fibre MCL, rehabbed it, played for the rest of the season, but it was never right. And then when I went back to pre-season, I couldn't kick the ball with my right foot. It was so sore. So I had just to open me up just to see what was happening. My medial wasn't really attached, so they had to attach it. And then obviously had the surgery, got myself back fit, and then my first day back in training with the team, I sort of cut inside and had a shot and got smashed on my ankle, and my ankle sort of bent back, and I knew I'd sort of hurt it, but I was just like, it's my first session back, so I carried on, and then had scans and it was saying, oh, it's just fluid, it's fine. So I'd had injections after injections all through the season, and it was still so sore every single day. It was so sore. And at the time, the manager then changed. We had I think it was Alan Irvine was then took over as manager, so it was all a bit up in the air, and I didn't feature, and my ankle was still sore, and I had I had like a scope to see what was the problem, and on the scan you see my cartilage is fine. As soon as they touched it, when they opened it up, it all fell off. So I had to have a microfracture of my ankle, which I was going into the op thinking I was going to be 4 weeks, and it turned out to be about 8 months. And it was a really, really difficult spell.
Sure.
The hardest sort of couple of years of my life for sure. And on my way back from that, I picked up IT band friction syndrome because I had 2 surgeries on my right hand side. My mechanics had changed, and so had to have a clean up of that, and then finally get myself back fully fit. And
for 2 whole games.
Well, no, so then I went on loan to Walsall in the January. Because obviously I wanted to stay at Norwich and play, but the team at the time were flying, which was brilliant. The manager was brilliant for me actually. I would have loved to have played for him and his team, the way he sets it out and the way he plays. But him as a manager said to me, look, as a manager, I want you to stay, because he's like, you're great around the change rooms. Obviously, you're a great player, but as a friend, I think you should go and play some games, and so I did. I went and played at Walsall, which was really just refreshing to go out and play football and enjoy it again and be pain free, which was a struggle for the last 2 years.
Yeah, were you there when James Clark was there?
No, it was. No. So I went there. I played. I played, I think, about 12 games. First game was away at Bolton in the Cup, where after about 10 minutes I got my first assist, which was like,
a bit like playing for
great.
Woking.
Yeah, exactly. So it was great, and then I got another assist in the game. So my first game, although we lost the game, I got 2 assists in the first game back. So it was really, really great. And Dean Keats took me there, and Russell Martin was there as well, who I knew from Norwich at the time. So it's a great club, and it was really nice for me to just go back and play some football and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. And then of course the latter part of last season here with Woking. Given your injury history and so on, as lockdown must be the longest period you haven't played football since you were 5 years old. It must be.
Yeah.
But has it actually done you a favour, do you think?
Well, the thing is, obviously, I've had a few injuries in the last couple of years, but I feel like because I haven't played, I've kept it in my legs. I'm still quick. I've still got good fitness. I'm in good physical shape, and I've been able to continue to do that. I would say, like, since Walsall, I've obviously been training most of the time on my own anyway, so I knew how hard it was to keep motivated, to keep training on my own, and that obviously lockdown has made sure that that's exactly what I've been able to do, just on my own, out running or in the, I've got a few things in my house that I can use when I've got time after having 2 kids, but yeah, so I'm physically in a very good shape and ready to roll, because I feel like I've missed a couple of years of playing, and I'm ready to do it again.
But also, perhaps unlike many footballers, most footballers over time, you've had this opportunity to spend time with your children as well.
Amazing.
Which you can't buy, can you?
No, I mean, with my son, I was there at the birth. I had the day of his birth, the next day, and then I was back in. Yeah. Whereas like now, I've been there every single day with her. So
and you've been
amazing.
doing all sorts of stuff, because you put it all on Instagram. Well, not
I've
all.
been trying to do lots of things. It's trying to keep everyone entertained.
Yeah.
So it's.
Well, your
it's
son
tough.
seems to be having
It's
the
tough.
time of his life.
Yeah.
Driving the digger.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if he had more fun than I did. It was it was quite nice to play with these toys for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, have you got any longer term thoughts? You say you're doing your badges. You've done bits and pieces of media for Sky and others. Where do you see Matt Jarvis in 10 years? What do you think you'll be
10
doing?
years.
I'm going long enough that
I
you're
know,
definitely not playing.
I know, yeah. I want to play. I want to continue. I've
Yeah.
missed it so much, and a lot of people, just like why just pack it in, just But no, I love it. I love it.
You're a long time retired.
Yeah, but I just love the game. I love the training. I love the the dressing room. I love the feeling when you walk on the pitch and everything about it. So I'm going to play as long as I can, and then. After that, I'm doing my badges, and also I'm really enjoying doing the media side of things. So, hopefully I'll be able to, be with Douse and also do the media.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be brilliant. Last thing then, when you Google Matt Jarvis, there's this section that comes up with a few questions with drop-down menus.
Okay.
It's always pretty near the top. Might not be the very top, but
okay.
The number one question is, what happened to Matt Jarvis? Well, now people know the answer. Matt Jarvis is playing for Woking Football Club.
Exactly. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it, and I'm really hoping to start where I left off last season. Played 60 minutes and got 1 goal, 2 assists. So if I can keep that ratio up, I'll be very pleased.
You won't be the only one that's very pleased. It's great to see you back. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Pleasure.